The lights are gonna shine. Maconi Entertainment. It's almost showtime. Rev it up, feel the engines roar. iRacing's calling, we're ready for more. Virtual tracks and the thrill of the chase. Get your game face on, we're setting the pace. With every turn and every dive, the tension is soaring, we're feeling alive. Strap in tight as we hit that green light. This is the moment we've waited all night. Maconi's on fire, countdown to blast off. The show's about to start, can't wait to hear you scoff. From the virtual pit to the roaring crowd cheer. iRacing's here, let's make it clear. From road courses to dirt tracks so wide, we're bringing you action like a wild ride. With every lap, hearts pound like drums. And when the flag waves, you know victory comes. So grab your crew and turn up the sound. Maconi Entertainment's breaking new ground. Feel that adrenaline rush through your veins. This is our moment, let's break these chains. Maconi's on fire, countdown to blast off. The show's about to start, can't wait to hear you scoff. From the virtual pit to the roaring crowd cheer. iRacing's here, let's make it clear. So grab your crew and turn up the sound. Maconi Entertainment is breaking new ground. Feel that adrenaline rush through your veins. This is our moment, let's break these chains. Maconi's on fire, countdown to blast off. The show's about to start, can't wait to hear you scoff. From the virtual pit to the roaring crowd cheer. iRacing's here, let's make it clear. In just a few moments we'll take you away to a world of speed where legends will play. So don't blink now, don't miss a beat. This is Maconi magic, we bring the heat. So buckle up tight as we start this thrill ride. Maconi Entertainment, join us for the stride. The show's just moments away, feel that race ignite. With iRacing on deck, it's gonna be a night.
We're the outlaws on the asphalt, running wild, we never fall. In the shadows where the strong survive, GoatLocker Racing, we come alive. We're brothers and sisters bound by the code. In the heat of the battle, we lighten the load. From the dirt to the track, we stand our ground. With a roar like thunder, we shake the town. We're racing through the fire, burning bright. With the grit of the brave, we fight the night. No chains can hold us, no fear can break. We're GLR for glory's sake. We've got the scars to show where we've been, but we wear them proud like a second skin. For the fallen and the ones who rise, in the name of freedom we ride the skies. From the first green flag to the final lap, we push the limits, no turning back. With the wind at our backs and the sun in our eyes, GoatLocker Racing will claim the prize. We're racing through the fire, burning bright. With the grit of the brave, we fight the night. No chains can hold us, no fear can break. We're GLR for glory's sake. In the heart high. No chains can hold us, no fear can break. We're GLR for glory's sake. We're the legends on the track, heart of steel. GoatLocker Racing, we make it real. In the dust and the smoke, we carve our name. GLR for glory's sake. On the edge of the wild, we won't betray. Every lap, every turn, it's do or die. With the spirit of warriors, we reach for the sky. In the heart of the storm, we find our way. On the edge of the wild, we won't betray. Every lap, every turn, it's do or die. With the spirit of warriors.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on a tree, you know how I feel. It's a new day, it's a new life.
Welcome from the virtual Iowa Speedway for race number 1 of the round of 8 for the INVETS Trucks Series GoatLocker Racing action we've got for you tonight. It's Maconi Entertainment, and there's only 3 races to go before we crown the champion here in this INVETS Trucks Series. I'm Dylan Coyle, joined alongside Jeremy Briggs, and we've dwindled it down from 12 drivers just 2 races ago, now to 8 drivers, a reset of points. There are some bonus points in some situations with that, but you see the playoff grid as it stands. We dwindled from 12 to 8, and now we're at David Duke, Ben Stevens, Michael McCarthy, Tyler Justice, the only drivers that have bonus points. They're automatically up on George Jewell, Chance Taylor, Colton Lanford, and Kendorian Davis. 8 drivers, and just 4 will make it after these 2 races this week and next Sunday, Jeremy. It's going to be a pretty exciting next 2 rounds.
Extremely exciting 2 rounds, and a few of these drivers probably got a little experience. A few of these drivers probably got some experience here at Iowa earlier this week, but Iowa, they're going to have their hands full. And like we saw in the previous round, if you drop out early in this race, the next round it's going to be a must-win situation.
And of course, once we finish up here at Iowa Speedway, it's the final short track race of this season, and one of the more unique races of the year. We're going to go to Pocono Raceway for the second and final race in the round of 8 before we end it at Atlanta Motor Speedway before it became a super speedway, that old school configuration, not so old school that your parents might remember from the Hooters 500 in the 90s. No, it's going to be the one that they just changed it from. But qualifying is still 2 minutes from being complete. We got some track information here. Iowa Speedway opened up in 2006. It's located in Newton, Iowa, just around a half hour north of Knoxville. Of course, one of the most famous dirt ovals in the world. Knoxville Nationals obviously held there each summer. Many drivers try to do both the NASCAR weekend and Knoxville weekends whenever it is time to do that throughout the year. It's under a mile long, and it does have some progressive banking. Now, in iRacing, Jeremy, I have not updated it yet with that newly repaved asphalt and the lower grooves of turns 1, 2, 3, and 4. How is that going to impact the drivers here tonight?
Regardless of the fact, even with having that new pavement on the inside, this track is definitely, it wears your tires out tremendously. You're going to want to be careful with those tires. I can't remember how many sets of tires they're getting here tonight, but they got to be careful with those sets, and they got to be managing the race, and you got to be there at the end to have a good finish. And those right fronts, you can obviously chew those up early on in the run and have your hands full trying to finish this thing off. And I'm really excited because Iowa has all this progressive banking. You'll see drivers trying to move up all over the place, and with all that tire wear, that bleeds up to a lot of tire debris. And if you get up in those marbles, it can be almost like driving with ice skates.
Yeah, and there are a lot of ways that you can get moves done here. We've seen drivers try to run that high line, but very quickly, if you're sawing at the wheel through the corners, you're going to wear down those tires very quickly. It's going to lead to some trouble that these drivers will have to deal with as the race goes on. It's not really that long of a race, but it's going to feel that way if drivers have to stay out in an elongated green flag run, 100 laps, 60% fuel. So it will lead to at least one stop in the race here tonight. Drivers do have 3 extra sets of tires that will help. Qualifying has completed here, and we will be able to get a look at who starts on the pole in this 21 truck field at Iowa right now. Under the lights here at Iowa Speedway, as we do blend into race time, Jeremy Gardner will grab pole position by 19 thousandths of a second over Brett Bieber in second. David Duke will be in third, while Chance Taylor will be in fourth on the outside of row number 2. Andy Kurtz, Barrett Morton, your front 3 rows, while Cliff Adams, Michael McCarthy, Tyler Justice, and Kendorian Davis round out the top 10. Brandon Wallace, Colton Lanford through row 6. Charles Abert and George Jewell will be in row 7. Kyle Deering and Benjamin Stevens alongside each other in row 8, while Scott Gilroy and Ricky Sisk, 17th and 18th. Sisk, the only driver to qualify with the time lower than 24 seconds flat, but Kevin Martin, Craig Bontrager, and Jeremiah Holt have not set a time in qualifying. They will start at the back of the field. 21 drivers, 100 laps, but before we do that, 2 pace laps. Conditions 78 degrees Fahrenheit in the air, 78 degrees on track. If anything, it might go down a couple degrees. We're racing under the lights. Don't expect that to play much of a factor here. There's not much wind either. So it really comes down to don't do anything too brash on track when trying to make moves work.
Got to be extremely patient. These bumpies, excuse me, the track has a lot of bumpiness to it. And if you're inside of somebody and you kind of overdrive the turn, that's going to maybe potentially, you can just ride up, you can just kind of bounce up the track, kind of lose traction, and find the inside door of somebody else. As you can see, as Carlton Lanford is on the grid, rocking the VR tonight. 100 laps is going to be the distance. We appreciate the drivers supplying the cameras tonight.
Absolutely, and just seconds away from these drivers starting to roll, you got to look at Colton Lanford there in his MetaQuest 3 headset. He'll be racing in VR tonight. Definitely a different experience than watching on a flat 2D monitor. And if this is anything like previous short track races we've had, expect a lot of commotion, a lot of chaos, and potential for damage. Now, these drivers do get 1 fast repair. That is important to note, because if they do get involved in a wreck that is bad enough, they can go right down pit road and get that truck back to perfect condition and get moving again. So it's almost a mulligan, right? You don't see that with something like the Cruisin Classics Next Gen Series on Wednesday nights. On Sundays, you do get that 1 mulligan as we come to the 1 to go signal now before we go for 100 laps here at Iowa Speedway. You can feel the excitement right now. These drivers, we haven't had this big of a field at a short track, I feel, in quite a while. It's going to be fun. Who's going to be able to win their way into the championship 4, or will we have a spoiler?
8 drivers going for 4 spots, but the field is 21 drivers full. Like you said, a very stout field of trucks here for this short track racing here in Iowa. I'm super excited as we're getting ready to come to the green here out of turns 3 and 4.
Pace truck will dive down to pit road in just a few minutes. 8 drivers in contention to make the championship 4. Will one of them come away with the victory here tonight? Or will Jeremy Gardner go from the pole and win this race? Green flag in the air. We're underway. 100 laps under the lights here in the cornfields. Lap 1 is complete, and the lead of the race is held by Jeremy Gardner. David Duke tried to fight on the outside, was unable to keep that truck settled down. Oh, he rides up the track, got a little bit tight, and all of a sudden, Andy Kurtz fights to the bottom. Caution is out, and we're already gonna have a little bit of commotion. Is Brett Bieber the one in trouble? He's last on our timing board. 19 drivers took the green flag in that Wheaties 808 machine. We'll get a look at the replay right here in a few moments, Jeremy.
Here it is. Looks like he was already loose center off. Looks like there's a 1 truck incident. Does a great job keeping off that inside wall. I don't know if he's got enough tires to get to the end here. Probably going to want to save a set. Try to cool his tires off and try to ride out here for another longer part of the stint. Looks like one car. No harm, no foul. Here with the 808 of Brett Bieber. Looks like it should be a quickie caution. Mentioned earlier in the broadcast that debris, the tire debris towards the wall. Look at that. Already coming to the green flag, and you can already see the marbles building up. We've got a long race to go. You're gonna have to be extremely patient with it here. As just looks like 2 drivers coming down pit road.
Yeah, those drivers already at the back of the field. No reason to go down pit road here. No reason to go for fuel unless you can already afford to lose that time and space. Sisk Jr. and, of course, Brett Bieber down pit road. No reason to take tires here. You've got 3 sets to change into. It's just a quick splash and go, and it does afford them a little bit more to play with strategy-wise. Not much. It's just smart to do if you're already at the back of the field. But that is a very interesting looking Super Mario Brothers paint scheme indeed. That's not a game I usually play that much of, and not always a big Mario guy, but it is a very, very interesting restart situation we've got here, because David Duke will be starting on the outside of Gardner, and he really tried to fight and move down the inside coming off of 3 and 4 that first time by. Maybe a change in strategy, maybe a dive to the outside, or dive up the track, I should say.
David Duke, one of our drivers, pretty much up towards the front every week, in and out. So you're going to have to try to find a way to get around the Jeremy Gardner machine. Maybe see how this restart goes. Usually we're on the outside on these restarts. It doesn't go so well for the truck on the outside, but David Duke, one of those drivers that is very good at mastering these restarts. That's why he's won so many races in this season. Let's see if he can capitalize on this next restart, as I believe we should be getting ready to come to the 1 to go this signal. This time around, as we were looking there, that awesome 48 Lowe's Jimmy Johnson throwback machine right there. Andy Kurtz.
Yeah, David Duke comes into this race as the first, the top driver in the playoff standings. Of course, there wasn't too much in terms of points carrying over, but the bonus points from Duke's wins in the regular season throughout the playoffs have afforded him an 11-point cushion over the current cut line. Ben Stevens, Michael McCarthy, Tyler Justice also have 6, 3, and 1 bonus points respectively. Jewell, Taylor, Lanford, and Davis, they're all starting at 2,000 points. And with lower truck counts, lower field sizes, you're obviously going to see each position, each point be of greater magnitude. An 11-point difference in coming into this race is large. You can almost finish at the back of the field and still be in contention with a decent second race in the round. All right, ready to go back to green flag racing here with 94 laps to go here at Iowa, and we are away. Gardner gets away very nicely, and Duke already has some competition on the outside here. Blocks up high, Andy Kurtz is able to stop the run from Chance Taylor for the moment. Caution back out.
Right back to a yellow.
And Charles Abert is around.
And out very quickly. Well, let's take a look at that replay.
Yeah, Abert was very quickly out of the car and took himself out of this race. We'll see the replay here. He was, just pile drove into by the 49 and then drove down into the 04 of Scott Gilroy. I don't know if it was just Abert maybe braking a little bit too early or something else, because that seemed a little bit uncalled for.
Especially here early on, Abert maybe potentially trying to not drive into the drivers in front of him, trying to save their stuff, pretty much midfield right here. Like you said, maybe just got out of the gas a little bit earlier than maybe the 49 was expecting there of Craig Bontrager.
Of course, we wouldn't be able to do these broadcasts without thanking some of the great partners of GoatLocker Racing, and no better one to start off with than the title partner of this series, INVETS. INVETS is founded by veterans for veterans and aids in transitioning to civilian life, focusing on job placement and finding the right community for veterans and their families to ensure their success and happiness. They are a veteran nonprofit here in Indiana with the goal of bringing veterans to the state to live and work. We thank INVETS for everything they do for GoatLocker Racing. And with that, of course, we talked about Jeremy Gardner getting pole position. Well, that is the Jam Printing and Promotions Pole Award from Plainfield, Indiana. We are local, we are veteran certified, and when we do well, we can do more good in the community. Since forming in 2013, Jam has contributed printing and promotional sponsorships to more than 60 local nonprofits with a primary focus on organizations that assist veterans, women, and children. They have been with GoatLocker Racing since the very beginning and provide GLR with all promotional items, including shirts, hats, decals, dog tags, you name it. Jam is GLR's go-to promotional company. Of course, they do the Pole Award across all GoatLocker Racing series this season. And we still have one to go here next time by before we get back to Green Flag Racing. And obviously you hear those two companies being a very veteran-focused group of companies here, and GoatLocker Racing, you can contribute to GoatLocker Racing Inc., and we'll make sure that that donation goes directly to supporting our cause of helping military veterans and first responders. Go to goatlocker.racing.org/donate. GoatLocker Racing is a 501c3 and run by and run for veterans. Very specific focus there. So, Jeremy, we will go back to Green Flag Racing here with 89 laps to go. Only one full Green Flag lap that we've been able to get through so far tonight. Gardner continues to lead the way, and it will help in terms of tire strategy, or at least I should say tire life, throughout this run.
Try to extend those tires as long as they can, help with their fuel strategies as well. Race control reporting that Charles Abert had a missed shift and blew his engine. So Craig Bontrager, honestly, had nowhere to go. So that was a blown engine there for the number 7 as we come back to the green.
Base truck goes down pit road. Gardner, Duke, your first row. Green flag back in the air, and Gardner went up to the outside row immediately. I wonder if race control is going to take a look at that, because he did that before even getting to the stripe. Gardner leads. David Duke, Andy Kurtz, Chance Taylor, and Barrett Moore in your top 5 down the backstretch.
Single file so far here for about the top 6 or 7, almost the top 10 now. But then we got 3 wide, and we got a spin here on the front stretch coming out of turn 4. Looks like the 808 involved again. Oh, we got one flipping over. I believe that's the 36 of George Jewell, who's actually going to drive away from this.
George Jewell just flipped over at the start-finish line after coming together with Brett Bieber involved in that first incident of the race. We catch a look on the replay here. Bieber is behind drivers 3 wide, and he just comes up and hits George Jewell. That's just sloppy racing from him off of turn 4. And they come together, make some more contact out of turn 4. And that is a kickflip and a half. Tony Hawk would be proud of that one. Get another look here, and here's a good view on board with, George Jewell. So this is going to be a good angle.
I was just about to call a really tight 3 wide action coming off of here of turn 4, and it was tight. And I'm not sure if maybe the 808 knew how tight that 3 wide action was, and maybe just made that slight contact here in this little flip. Back on all 4s, and away George Jewell will go, and I believe he'll come down pit road. And along with him, it looks like maybe 5 or 6 trucks, coming down this time to top off on fuel, maybe extend their fuel this time.
Yeah, not too surprising that drivers are deciding to come down pit road for that. Jeremy Gardner has come down pit road right now. I don't believe David Duke has, or Andy Kurtz, or Chance Taylor. So if that is the case, interesting strategy from some of the leaders in this race. Gardner down pit road. I don't know if that's necessarily the best strategy. You're still going to have to pit before this race is over. Yes, this is for fuel, but you've barely worn anything off of the Goodyear rubber. I don't know if that's the right strategy call for Gardner.
Jeremy Gardner having to go to the rear for a restart violation from race control. That would be the reason.
So
probably.
Exactly what I thought. Gardner, restart violation, like you said, will have to start from the back of this field because he did switch lanes before getting back to the stripe on that restart. So from being on pole position to leading multiple laps, just unfortunate to see it come to that for Gardner. We'll see if he's able to drive through the field. We know he's got the speed. It's just different when you have to go through traffic and you know through all these caution periods. You can't make up positions.
And you don't want to be involved in one of those cautions, as you can see here early on. Just a little tricky here at Iowa. Tricky being 3 wide, that is for sure. And George Jewell with a little kickflip here to keep it going. I believe he may take a fast repair here. We'll see how much damage he had. It does not look like, yes, he did have to use his fast repair for that kickflip. So George Jewell going to have to be extremely careful with 84 laps to go, have 83 laps to go, I believe, when we go green.
Briefly, before we do get back to green flag conditions, let's talk a little bit about Lincoln Tech. Lincoln's mission is to provide superior education and training to our students for in-demand careers in a supportive, accessible learning environment, transforming students' lives and adding value to their communities. They are one of the largest automotive technology schools in the nation with 23 campuses, the title sponsor of the Fall Series, and a very large partner of GLR. Lincoln Tech, of course, is on the quarter panels of many of the cars and trucks across GoatLocker Racing Series. And as these trucks are about to get filed to 2x2, we'll go back to green flag racing in just one lap's time with 82 laps to go. And by the way, you're watching this on Maconi Entertainment, the Maconi Setup Shop, and Maconi Entertainment is the home for setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, event promotion, and more on the iRacing service. Subscriptions are available for as low as $8 per month. It's the official setup shop of eNASCAR and the official series sponsor of the NASCAR C-Fixed Series. You can go to MaconiSetupShop.com for setups and more information about getting your series broadcasted on this platform. Well, let's see if the fourth time is the charm for getting going after a restart here tonight. We've only really had a couple green flag laps, but this pace truck, once it does go back down pit road, is going to have someone else leading the field back to green. David Duke leading Andy Kurtz on the outside here with 82 to go. Pace truck is away and green flag back out in the air. Let's go back racing.
David Duke, dominant truck all season long, now finds himself right where he wants to be in the lead. Chance Taylor in that number 14 truck side by side there with the number 48 of Andy Kurtz battling there for second place, coming around to complete a good clean lap here for these drivers. Single file once again through about the top 8 or 9 as we have now 81 laps to go. They're starting to trickle away. I believe all these drivers still have one more pit stop to make.
Some 2x2 racing in the back of the pack just outside the top 10. Kendorian Davis trying to make moves happen. Davis just in front of Colton Lanford and George Jewell. Jewell pushes a little bit tight, comes down through the front stretch. He'll take that middle groove at Iowa, and look at Lanford just trying to ring it around the bottom. Got that truck slowed down enough to compete with Davis going into 3. He's going to make the move work, but he is going to hurt the longevity and the tire life of those tires.
George Jewell almost just went 3 wide again on the outside this time. I think he decided to back out of it that time. Around turns 3 and 4. Maybe be a little bit more patient. He's now trying to get to the outside of that number 51 machine. Colton Lanford now finds himself clean, and oh man, the 42 of Jeremy Gardner trying to march his way back to the field. Almost went 3 wide right there. Whew, tight racing.
Yeah, remember, these drivers are fighting for playoff points, playoff situations. Colton Lanford and Kendorian Davis both came into this race tied at that last, I guess you could say without any bonus points, right? 2,000 points. They're tied for the spots just below the cut line. Jeremy Gardner, now looking at him right now, he's moving his way back up through the field. Remember, got pole position and moved down because of that restart violation. Now back up into 13th, fighting for 12th. Now we're looking at this top 5 battle here. Barrett Morton, Michael McCarthy. Oh, McCarthy almost got into the back of Morton. Has to slow up quickly. Almost opens the door up for Cliff Adams down the inside of 3 and 4.
Cliff Adams in that number 98, running in 6th position right now. Trying to pounce on that number 3 truck, who just had to check up. Oh, gets a little tight off of turn number 2. You can see now number 3 of Michael McCarthy just kind of riding it out here with a little bit of more clean air with the truck out front of him getting a little bit farther out, but he's got all that pressure in his mirrors. He's got 3 trucks there. They're now side by side behind them. It looks like it's going to be Brandon Wallace and Benjamin Stevens side by side here for 7th and 8th.
Again, these 2 drivers, one of them at least is in the playoff picture. One of them is not. Benjamin Stevens, 6 points above the cut line, 2nd overall in the standings coming into this race, courtesy of those bonus points coming into the round. He doesn't want to let that advantage that he's got, slim as it may be, slip as, up high, almost pushing himself into the wall was the 98 machine, Cliff Adams, and that opens the door up for Brandon Wallace to compete down the inside. Fighting back on the outside, though, is Adams. He'll keep the position for now.
Really tight battling throughout the field with these trucks. As you can see now, the 808 of Brett Bieber right here in 14th, battling there with George Jewell in 15th, right on his back bumper. These trucks have been pretty close for the last 5 or 6 laps here. Just trying to march to the front. They've kind of find themselves stalled out. Oh, we got him spinning right here on the front stretch. Kendorian Davis, Brett Bieber.
Brett Bieber involved in his 3rd incident of the night, and we're only 28 laps into this one. Caution number 4, and that is massive for Kendorian Davis. We'll take a look at the replay here. Davis, of course, is one of those drivers who needs to have a good showing both tonight and next Sunday. Davis got pushed very high. You can't blame Bieber right there. Davis just got tight, tried to take his foot off the throttle, and then snapped it back down the inside. That led to that contact, and he has got a damaged rear bumper.
Just snapped around on him out of turn 4. As you can see, we were watching it live, almost like a little broadcaster's jinx.
All right, with 71 laps to go here on Maconi Entertainment, we're going to take a brief break while pit stops start and get underway.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Hey everybody, Patrick here with GoatLocker Racing. We got the truck loaded up, getting ready to head north up to Muncie, Indiana. About an hour-and-a-half drive. Get this sim rig in the hands of Josh Unger, our newest veteran that has joined the GoatLocker Racing family. Can't wait to get it in his hands. Folks, we just pulled up, so let's get this thing delivered. Alrighty, that was a whole lot of fun. Got the sim rig dropped off to Josh. He's as excited as could be. Got to meet his 2 boys, his wife, and everything. He's gonna get everything set up and ready to race. So congratulations again, Josh. Welcome to the GoatLocker Racing family, and thanks to everybody that makes this happen. I want to give a special shout out to the Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs and the grant they gave us to make this happen. INVETS, you guys are awesome. You are the ones that helped us identify this veteran and so many more. So stay tuned. We got more sim rigs rolling out, and be sure to follow us on all the social media and head over to our website, www.goatlocker.org. Take care.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Maconi Entertainment at Iowa Speedway here for race number 1 of the round of 8 for the INVETS Trucks Series GoatLocker Racing action here. And we're about to go back to a 66 lap to go restart. Third of the way in here, and a new race leader, Tyler Justice, will lead the way. Andy Kurtz alongside. Justice has not gone down pit road yet. Green back in the air. We'll see how long those tires can last if there is problems for him as this race gets back underway, and already he pushes up a little bit tight. 3 wide for the lead of this race. Justice tries to block Kurtz on the outside, but David Duke moves down to the inside, takes away P1, fighting back on the outside to get that 48 on that right rear quarter panel. Can't do it. Dive down to the inside. Here's another chance from Kurtz, who slides high and almost gets into that left rear of Duke. They managed to keep it going through 1 and 2 clean. Duke clean out in front.
What an exciting restart right there for your dominating driver here tonight so far of the 78 of Duke, who was our leader before that caution. Had that one truck that decided to stay out, and and that time it did pay off with him to get that lead back. As we look further on throughout our field, you can see right there the 98 of Cliff Adams battling there almost 3 wide with this pack. You got Adams, Morton, Sis Jr., Lanford in this battle. Oh, we got a yellow on the track. There's a wreck.
Oh.
It's the 14.
And that is big for a playoff competitor. Chance Taylor is around, and with 63 laps to go, we're back under yellow flag conditions here. Let's take a look at the replay, see how we got here. And coming through 3 and 4, they are 3 wide. Taylor alongside Tyler Justice, and that's actually just Taylor losing it. All coming right up in front of Scott Gilroy. And then all commotion breaks loose. Good job by most of the field to avoid him now.
Looks like Chance Taylor has not used a fast repair yet, so he should still have one in the bank if needed. Just prior to halfway, though, we're still about 12 laps short of halfway. You got to be extremely careful to get to the end of this race. You're going to be using that fast repair if needed, because you wreck after using that fast repair, it could end your night and end your playoff hopes. They'll put you in a must-win situation next week.
Well, remember, drivers do get that those mulligans, right? They do get that one fast repair. So if they are involved in an incident, they can get their trucks back to full strength, and it just makes it gives everybody a chance to be a little bit more aggressive, which I don't know is necessarily the best way you want to see it when we've already had 5 cautions in the first 40% of this race. But nonetheless, things are looking quite normal up front with Duke leading Kurtz, and Tyler Justice is still trying to hang on. Pretty solid job after losing P1 to still stay within a podium spot.
Yeah, Tyler Justice was kind of on his own island there once we got back to green. Trucks were slowly getting him there. As you can see, Chance Taylor was trying to make that pass. I don't know if he just put a little too much goose in it, had a little bit too much wheel maybe on exit, and just lost it and spun around. I believe he came down to pit road to get repairs. Love to see how it plays out and see if Chance Taylor could march through the field, as Andy Kurtz is right on here, board with him right now. This number 48 Lowe's looking like Jimmy Johnson machine. He was giving David Duke a battle for the lead that time. We'll see if he can do it this time on this restart, as we're about down to 60 laps to go, probably have 58 to go when we go to green.
Hopefully we can get a little bit more green flag running in this race. We have seen some pretty solid racing when they are able to run alongside each other. Just it doesn't happen for a long amount of time, and I shudder to think about a long green flag run with how tire life will potentially end up being with this 60% fuel capacity. It's not really going to do too much in terms of changing how the tires wear. Theoretically, 60% fuel tank means you should have a lot more tire life than if it was 100% fuel tank. But nonetheless, it is something to keep in mind. Now, with that being said, drivers are not exactly, I don't think, at the point where they can go till the end of this race if it stayed green throughout. I think as long as there's another 10 laps or so, you're more than good. But we're not at that point just yet where you can go in one more time and then just stay out the rest of the way because you'd be good on fuel.
That's why I agree with Tyler Justice's plan to try to stay out here. The way this race has been going cautious, it might benefit him to try to stay out on these older tires, and eventually everybody does have to pit potentially one more time to get themselves to the end of the race. We'll see how it plays out there from Tyler Justice, David Duke, and Andy Kurtz going to be on the front row. We'll see which lane he decides to take. If we come on and lead this time to the go signal. Right behind them, Barrett Morton in that 61 machine. Been up in the top 5 pretty much the majority of the night after starting, I believe, in the 9th position. Excuse me, the 6th position, so just outside top 5. He's moved up 2 spots from where he started, but he's pretty much been here all night long. We'll see if Barrett Morton can maybe get some strategy on his part and find himself a couple more spots up towards the front as the field has been given that 1 to go signal. We'll be coming around to the green next time by.
Cliff Adams running in the highest point of the running order that he's been in so far tonight. Started a little bit back in the field and had run in 11th, now up 6 positions from his lowest point. Justice still out there. I don't think these drivers are going to use 3 extra sets of tires. They really shouldn't, but he has given himself the availability to use multitudes of tires if that is what comes to fruition. Pace truck going down pit road. Duke Kurtz, row 1. Justice Moore in row 2. Back underway. Duke on the inside will lead the field to turn 1, and no competition this time. Justice should make way pretty easily for Andy Kurtz, and Barrett Morton now on the outside. That 61 Ghost machine trying to make it through the field and make it into a podium spot. Does it cleanly.
Barrett Morton. Oh, Tyler just know the tires is going to spin out here on the bottom of the front stretch. That's going to bring us right back to another yellow. And unfortunately, Tyler Justice's plan to stay out comes to a quick close here. I believe that'll probably bring him right to pit road.
Tyler Justice is a driver who had the potential for strategy to work out in his favor. And actually, looking at that replay right there, I don't know if that was really on him. I think that, it looked like he was kind of hit from up high. We'll see if he moved up. No, the 98 just came down on him. That's, I guess, not what I expected to see. We were talking about Cliff Adams running in top 5 position, and unfortunately trying to move upwards through the field. Kind of got into Justice, got a little bit loose off the corner.
Nothing of Justice is doing right there, but unfortunately just seems to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Cliff Adams just that little bit of loose there off of turn 4. I believe Tyler Justice should come to pit road this time and get the 4 fresh tires that he had extra in the bank, as we are just about 4 laps away from the halfway mark here.
We're going to take another quick break here on Maconi Entertainment. 54 laps to go here in the INVETS Truck Series. We'll be back.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Back here at Iowa Speedway, and the 98 machine of Cliff Adams has been given an EOL penalty for causing that previous collision just a few moments ago. We shortened up this caution period and will be going back to green flag racing action with 51 laps to go, just a lap short of the halfway point in this race. Haven't had too much green flag racing here tonight. I'm sure that is a trend that might see a little bit more action as this race comes to a close. Green flag is back out in the air, and what a start, what a jump for David Duke and Barrett Morgan down the inside. That inside row was caught napping there on that restart, but Andy Kurtz fights back on the outside and will hold on to P2 for now.
Just behind them, looks like we are 3 wide for position number 3. Gardner, Lanford, and Bontrager, excuse me, all battling there right at the edge of the top 5. It was 3 wide, man. Woo! Tight racing, great racing out here.
Fantastic racing in the midfield right now. Michael McCarthy, Colton Lanford trying to make moves work. I mean, pretty much anywhere you look, drivers are trying to fan out, run different grooves here at Iowa. Not exactly a one-groove track because of that progressive banking. As in the midfield, there's Brett Bieber in the 808 machine. It's been involved in quite a few bit of incidents here tonight, but it is running in P8 right now in front of Jewell and Kendorian Davis, both playoff drivers here, and they go 3 wide with McCarthy in the middle.
George Jewell was doing a kickflip earlier right here on the front stretch, and really tight racing there on the bottom of 3 wide, trying to make his march back up towards the front of the field. You can see him right there on the inside of Kendorian Davis. Really tight racing, great racing. You can see George Jewell just doesn't have the momentum on the bottom. McCarthy right there in the number 3. No pressure from behind him. George Jewell tried to move up, gets it to the middle of the track there. Excuse me. Oh, Kendorian Davis with a little bit of a blink.
Yeah, it's never comfortable when you're a driver in behind and all of a sudden you start to see... Oh, Kendorian Davis does spin. We were just talking about Davis blinking, internet connection issues. Other drivers were caught out by Davis going around out of turn 2, back under yellow with 47 laps remaining.
Take a look at this replay here. A little bit of the bump right there. Looks like, yeah, Kendorian Davis just got loose out of turn 2. George Jewell caught a little bit piece of it. You see a couple other trucks involved as well. I'm not sure if that might be the Cliff Adams machine that was there on the bottom of the 98.
You see that blink right there from Davis down the front stretch. That doesn't play into this wreck starting. He kind of just doesn't turn, right? That truck's just not turning for him. And the really unfortunate thing for Davis is that I think he's already used his fast repair. We'll have to see if he still has that speed or has to leave the race. Currently back in 17th place right now as all these drivers come down to pit road for some stops. This will get them to the end of this race, and it will be the final stop if we go green the rest of the way.
Prior to Kendorian Davis coming down pit road, he had a fast repair left to use. We'll see if he uses it this time on pit road. So far, looks like he might just be getting the repairs done, but it looks like the 48 machine of Andy Kurtz winning the race off of pit road. It looks like the 808, the 3, and the 33 stayed out.
Yeah, so the 808, the 3, and the 33, the only drivers up front that have decided to stay out on track. That will obviously lead, especially in the case of Bieber and McCarthy, who have had the same tires for the last 18 laps of the race. They're going to be hurting a little bit more than Justice, whose tires have only been run on track for 10 laps, and obviously fewer of those laps have been under green flag conditions. Still, they're going to suffer a little bit when it comes to times that the likes of Andy Kurtz, David Duke, Craig Bontrager are going to set. And by the way, can we talk a little bit about the driver in the 49 machine? We've been real quiet on him tonight, Craig Bontrager. He has not been up in this high in the field until right now. Started 19th, did not set a qualifying time. This is quite impressive for this Chevy driver.
Still has all his fast repairs, which means he's kept himself clean so far. Just on the outside of the top 5, looking in. Craig Bontrager from P19, looking pretty stout here with 43 laps to go. It looks like we are coming to the green next time. In the 51 of Caddoria and Davis, given the EOL for the cause of that wreck.
All these drivers are lined up a double file down the backstretch. We'll go back to green flag racing with 42 laps to go in this race. The 3 drivers who are right now kind of under the umbrella of not going down pit road, it's going to be interesting to see if they struggle, or I should say more so how much they struggle here on this restart, how quickly a driver like Kurtz or Duke, specifically Kurtz because he is on the outside of row 2, will be able to get through them quickly. Green flag back out in the air. Brett Bieber, a great jump, leads the way. McCarthy already having to defend from Kurtz in the 48, runs the high line. Oh, he's so much quicker than anybody else in the top 3. He's going to take away second, maybe first by the end of this lap.
Oh, as we are 3 wide for the lead, through turns 3 and 4. Kurtz almost into the wall there, pushing extremely hard to get McCarthy and Bieber to his inside. Andy Kurtz trying the power move on the outside. He has got so much momentum. Let's see if he can pass Michael McCarthy going into 3 and 4. He will down the backstretch.
Oh my goodness, what great racing here at Iowa Speedway. It's because of this tire strategy that Kurtz has been able to get out to a 10 truck length advantage. McCarthy, Duke, your podium right now. Duke down the inside of McCarthy, and all of these drivers just piling into 1 and 2. Down the backstretch, George Jewell was sliding on the exit of 2, was able to save it, but loses a ton of time, and it is still green flag conditions. My goodness, if you're a driver like Brett Bieber, you see all this traffic around. You've been involved in a fair few incidents tonight. You're almost seeing ghosts. You're almost schizophrenic seeing all these drivers out here.
Being in that different tire strategy, you're going to kind of feel like, what am I doing wrong? Why is everybody so much faster? You just got to keep reminding yourself. It's a mental game. Everybody's just got those just a little bit fresher tires. You got to ride it out here. Got to find yourself there in the end of the race. Oh, is this Duke getting loose off of turn 2?
David Duke way loose off of turn 2, and he's wearing a captain's hat, but he is quite not in control of his truck right there. Around and continues moving through the field, still green flag conditions. That is a massive problem for a driver who came into this race 11 above the cut line. He's 15th, so you can't afford this race. You can't afford 2 races like this.
Well, if you think about it like this, though, those 11 bonus points are gone right now if it finds himself in 15th. So he'd probably break even right here. Maybe a couple drivers gain a couple spots on him. As we look as the 42 of Gardner and McCarthy and the 3 on the outside battling side by side down the backstretch. That is for position number 2.
Man, this is some good racing right here. Jeremy Gardner, who on one of the earlier restarts in this race moved up to the outside line, and got a restart violation penalty, was sent to the back of the field. Right now, second place is where he runs, just a second and a tenth off of the lead with 35 coming to 34 laps to go. Sliding through 3 and 4 was Bontrager and Colton Lanford. All of these drivers trying desperately to move up through the field in the waning stages of this race.
Oh, almost contact there between, I believe that was Bieber and Deering in the number 50. Oh, is there 3 wide now? Lanford on the inside, the 61 of Barrett Morin on the, oh, almost cut him off. Barrett Morin potentially just gave him a big break for Kyle Deering.
My goodness, these drivers just outside the top 5. They're under a blanket right here. They're running 2 wide, 3 wide, and not much is separating them whatsoever. It's pretty cool to see them running both the high and the low line through 3 and 4. They're all making it work for them for at least now. As the tires start to fall off, that might be a bit of a different story. Remember, McCarthy, Bieber, and Morton, well, I should say more McCarthy and Bieber, those drivers have tires that are much older than drivers like Morton, so they're starting to fall back through the field. Everyone else is trying to navigate their way through that.
I think a lot of these drivers here that are battling extremely hard for these spots, they got to remember, you know, we got 30 laps to go. You want to make sure those tires are good to the end. If you're racing this hard early on, you're going to have nothing at the end of this race if it does go green to the end. Right now, Andy Kurtz smooths down up front, but these drivers right here are just beating their tires up, racing side by side, lap after lap. Once they get it figured out, though, they can definitely get their tires pulled back down, try to hopefully have something for the end. As you can see, the 61 of Barrett Morton finding himself back in the top 5. He was in the top 3 before we went to that caution where the pit strategies went underway.
Jeremy Gardner has cut that advantage for Andy Kurtz down by a couple tenths in the last few laps of this race. 29 remaining here at Iowa. Of course, we've had a lot of yellow flags in this one. This is the longest green flag run of the race, knock on wood. But if we do go green the rest of the way, this race could be over within the next 10 or so minutes.
Most certainly could. And like you had just mentioned, Jeremy Gardner setting just a little bit faster pace than Andy Kurtz here, as you're right on board with Brandon Wallace, number 99, running an 8th spot right now, trying to continue to make his march to the front. You can see those couple trucks in front of him. Man, that dirty air just makes your truck a handful. You just lose so much downforce.
Yeah, you definitely do lose a little bit of downforce. It's not as overplayed at a track like this compared to maybe a faster flat track, maybe a mile and a half if we're talking about a track like Kentucky, for example. That would be a lot worse when it comes to dirty air with these trucks. Gardner has cut that advantage down a little bit more, 3 tenths from the last time we checked in. He's only half a second back now of the leader of this race, and that 48 Lowe's truck has got to be worried now about the 42 bearing in on him.
Is the 48 worried? Maybe he's saving his stuff a little bit here, maybe backing up his pace. He's got so much longer to go, but you never know. Maybe Jeremy Gardner has got it figured out on this little bit of a longer run finally in this race, able to pace himself and keep his tires underneath him. I think very shortly we're going to have a battle for the lead.
Jeremy Gardner has been chasing Andy Kurtz down for quite a while. Gardner, of course, had the pole position, started this race from there, led the first 11 laps before getting that EOL penalty. I mean, he's pretty much like Bilbo Baggins right now. He's trying to reclaim his land, reclaim his home, and get back into P1 where he feels like he should belong right now. 24 to go.
24 laps to go. Those lap times were extremely close, a 24:21 to a 24:20 for Gardner. You need more than that to get to him. make that pass. We were running around with Brandon Wallace there earlier, and he has disconnected. Unfortunately, there's like some slight internet issues for him. As we look at the battle on here with Brett Bieber all the way up against the wall. That's the battle for the edge of the top 5 there with Craig Bontrager all the way up in front of this. We've got Chance Taylor, Brett Bieber, and Kyle Deering battling here hard.
Taylor, of course, one of the other drivers who has been in a couple incidents tonight. He's just in front of Brett Bieber. Taylor, of course, with that playoff position for him, these are major moments of the race. If he can get by a driver like Bontrager, a driver like Morton, that's huge for his potential bid to make it into the championship race at Atlanta Motor Speedway. 20 laps and change remaining here at Iowa. Andy Kurtz only in front now by 0.2 of a second over Jeremy Gardner. He is hard charging right now.
And watching Jeremy Gardner's line, he's running about a truck with lower, and he is now to the back bumper of that 48. Man, 20 laps to go, coming at 19 laps to go. Can Jeremy Gardner make the pass? He's worked his way to his back bumper. Andy Kurtz in that 48.
This is a potential pass for a bid into the championship for a high line taken, a high entry into one, and comes out with momentum. It's Andy Kurtz who still holds a 2 truck length advantage. Gardner will go a little bit lower, rolls a little bit quicker through the center of 3 and 4, and Kurtz got quite tight up against the wall, but somehow kept his foot in the throttle and continues to lead here with just 18 to go.
Just one thing I love about Iowa Speedway is these different lines these drivers can use and still have considerably close lap times. 24:40, 24:42. This is one heck of a battle for the lead. As you look, Barrett Morton now up to 3rd, the fastest car on the track.
And just underneath Kurtz, Gardner almost got that right front fender there. He is there. He could make the move happen now, but there's no reason to force it. You still have 16 laps to go. And of course, the run to the stripe right here. Again, Kurtz got a little bit squirrely on corner exit, and Gardner is barreling down the inside, gets that right front tire just barely to that left rear fender, but cannot keep it there. They run 1-2 still with coming to 15 to go.
Gardner seems to be able to get to his inside of that bottom, but just cannot carry enough momentum down the straightaways to hold it there. His right rear tires starting to hang out just a smidgen. Can Gardner keep the pace there? Oh, really loose off of turn 2.
Oh, he's dirt tracking it right around turn 2, excuse me, and he almost was able to make it stick if he did not get that loose. He's going to have to get those tires cooled back down and reset himself. Here's this battle for P3, or I should say more like P4. Chance Taylor took it away from Michael McCarthy. Barrett Morton in P3, and Craig Bontrager now in 6th place. He's trying to get some inside track right there on that 3 machine. The 3 goes down the block. The 49 can't do anything about it. He will get a better run, though, off the corner.
All right to his right rear, slight contact. Woo, great driving right there by both drivers to not wreck off of turn 4. That's going to bring some momentum to that number 24 truck of Benjamin Stevens to try to get now, maybe not 1 truck, but maybe 2 with these 2 trucks that are battling in front of them.
All of these positions for playoff drivers absolutely matters. McCarthy, Benjamin Stevens, Chance Taylor. It's just a hornet's nest of 1 point here, 1 point there can make all the difference to get to Atlanta. Kurtz continues to lead, but battles are going on all throughout this track. By the way, that advantage between Kurtz, or the advantage that Kurtz has over Jeremy Gardner, it stabilized to around 4/10 after that slide out of turn 2. It keeps ducking back down to around 3/10. We'll continue to monitor it here as you see visually that gap. It's a little bigger than it was last time we checked in, but it is still very manageable if Gardner is able to mount a run back on Kurtz here.
Tell you what, these drivers up front, these first two, Kurtz and Gardner, are going to have to be careful because the drivers behind them were setting faster lap times than them. One little slip up with a battle, and they could potentially not lose just first and second, but they find themselves on the edge of the top 5. Right now, they've got themselves out to pretty much a 3.3 second lead over the rest of the field with 9 laps to go this time, so they do have the breathing room, but just one little slip up could potentially lose you some more spots than expected.
If you're a playoff driver in this race, you are quite happy that the only 2 drivers, if it goes under green flag conditions, that have a chance to win this race are both not playoff eligible. That would mean no driver would punch their ticket into the next round with a win here tonight. It would keep everybody alive going to Pocono next Sunday night. 8 laps remaining in this race, and side by side, Michael McCarthy goes. He's starting to hemorrhage positions, and David Duke is running up through the field once again, up into 7th. Oh, what could have been for the driver of the 78.
David Duke trying to make those positions back up has really marched his way definitely through this field. He was our leader and he was having a very sizable lead. This dirty area is very hard to manage through here in the back. As we look up front of the battle with Andy Kurtz and the 42 of Jeremy Gardner, managed right there at that 3/10 second lead. But we'll have to see if Andy Kurtz has got the tires to get him to these next 6 laps, or if Jeremy Gardner has got it figured out.
Yeah, Gardner, I mean, he's right there. However, the kind of availability to make a mistake or not go as hard as possible, it kind of left after he made that mistake, and he almost gets up into the wall. He pushed quite tight, was on the throttle the entire way through 4 up to the front stretch, but sliding way up the track was Andy Kurtz. It'll give him some momentum down the backstretch, but Gardner is trying all he can to get back to that rear bumper. Coming to 4 laps to go here at Iowa Speedway. Just a mano-a-mano fight for the win of this race.
Gotta give it to these drivers as well. We had quite a few cautions there up to the halfway point. And this last stretch of racing has been really great. Great green flag runs. These tires, all different tire strategies, if they're in play. You were hoping for another caution, you did not get one. Does Andy Kurtz have the tires to keep Jeremy Gardner behind him for 3 more laps?
3 laps to go, and that gap is as big as it has been in the final 30 of this race. It's now a half second between Kurtz and Gardner. Has Kurtz done enough and given himself enough breathing room to hold off the charge back through the field by Gardner? 2 laps to go, and Kurtz is saying, please let me see the white flag.
Just a quick side note, David Duke finds himself now up to 6th position, coming to the white flag. A tremendous drive back to the field after getting that sideways coming off the 2, but coming to the white flag is going to be Andy Kurtz. Can he hold off Jeremy Gardner for 1 more lap?
Kurtz 6/10 in front of Jeremy Gardner. Kurtz started within the top 5. He didn't have pole position. He didn't really show as much speed in the early goings here as Gardner or David Duke, but he held off the hard charge of the 42 when it mattered most. The 48's going to victory lane here at Iowa Speedway. Andy Kurtz takes the checkered.
What a drive there for Andy Kurtz. Lead a bunch of laps there towards the end of the race. Finds himself as our winner here tonight at Iowa.
Fireworks just outside turn 3 here in Newton, Iowa. Andy Kurtz will burn it down, and we will take a short break here on Maconi Entertainment. We'll be back with race results and podium interviews.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Hey everybody, Patrick here with GoatLocker Racing. We got the truck loaded up, getting ready to head north up to Muncie, Indiana. About an hour and a half drive. Get this sim rig in the hands of Josh Unger, our newest veteran that has joined the GoatLocker Racing family. Can't wait to get it in his hands. Folks, we just pulled up, so let's get this thing delivered. Alrighty, that was a whole lot of fun. Got the sim rig dropped off to Josh. He's as excited as could be. Got to meet his 2 boys, his wife, and everything. He's gonna get everything set up and ready to race. So congratulations again, Josh. Welcome to the GoatLocker Racing family, and thanks to everybody that makes this happen. I want to give a special shout out to the Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs and the grant they gave us to make this happen. INVETS, you guys are awesome. You are the ones that help us identify this veteran and so many more. So stay tuned. We got more sim rigs rolling out, and be sure to follow us on all the social media and head over to our website, www.goatlocker.org. Take care.
Welcome back to Maconi Entertainment and Iowa Speedway, where Andy Kurtz has taken victory here under the lights. I mean, goodness me, Kurtz, the Pennsylvanian, he definitely held off the fact that David Duke, well, we saw Duke win a couple of races this season. He's been strong. He had a chance. He finished back in 6th. We've got the full results right there. Kurtz, we thought we'd see the shadow and return to his hole, just like Punxsutawney Phil. David Duke, it was not a victory for him tonight. Jeremy Gardner 2nd, Barrett Moore in 3rd, Chance Taylor 4th, Bontrager in 5th, David Duke in 6th, Benjamin Stevens, Cliff Adams, Brett Bieber, and Michael McCarthy, your top 10 finishers. And 11th is Kyle Deering, Colton Lanford, George Jewell, and Ricky Sisk Jr., your lead lap finishers, while Kendorian Davis finishes in 15th, 1 lap down. Tyler Justice, Brandon Wallace, Charles Abert, Scott Gilroy, Kevin Martin did not take the start, nor did Jeremiah Holt. 21 drivers officially labeled as finishing and competing in tonight's race. It is time for podium interviews, so we might as well bring in the race winner, Andy Kurtz, who, like an aardvark and nocturnal, theater you fed on this asphalt here under the lights at Iowa Speedway. Congrats to the Pennsylvanian, Andy. How you feeling?
Thanks, man. Feeling good. Good to get a win. It's been a while.
You know, Andy Kurtz, you and Jeremy Gardner were going at it a lot of the final 30 laps in this race. Did you ever feel like, you know, there was at any point in this one, in that battle, where he just was a faster truck, or was there any point where you just said, hey, yeah, I've got this in the bag?
Yeah, I had no idea. I mean, Jeremy's like the last guy I want catching me from 2 seconds back at a track where I have no idea what I'm doing. So he did that. He ran me down, but I figured if I could just run the top and force him to try to pass me on the bottom, it'd be pretty tough for him to do that. So I think by the time he caught me, it was pretty even on tires, and started pulling back away from him there at the end last couple laps. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. Awesome race. Second half of the race went green. So had a blast.
Well, Andy, I'll give you the floor to thank your partners, your sponsors, anyone you'd like to give a shout out to.
Thanks, man. Yeah, appreciate everyone in this league putting this on. I want to thank Lincoln Tech, Hidden Whip Brewery, Cruisin Classics, Nasty's Restaurant and Bar, Veterans for Life Foundation, Veterans for Life Racing, INVETS Jam Printing and Promotions, Maconi Setup Shop, V-Speed, NASCAR 360, Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs, Alexander PC, Sim Motion, Next Level Racing, iRacing, and Above the Yellow Line for helping us put this on.
Andy Kurtz, race winner here at Iowa Speedway. Congratulations once again.
Thanks, man.
All right, Andy wins the race. And Jeremy, you're standing by with Jeremy.
We certainly are. Jeremy Briggs standing by with Jeremy Gardner. Jeremy Gardner started on the pole. You had that penalty earlier on in the race, man. You battled your way back all the way up to second. You kept yourself out of all that mayhem, man. Walk us through your night. Tell us what more you need just to get around Andy Kurtz there to get that win. That was great racing in that last 30 laps.
I just needed a little bit more patience. I started getting the adrenaline building up in me, and I just killed my tires right there. I was catching him pretty good. I was gaining on him mainly in 1 and 2. I think he had me in 3 and 4. And I would arc the corner right in 1 and 2. I could catch him every time, and finally I got it to slide the rears, and I think that's what killed it right there. And after that, I just couldn't gain on him. So sucks, but he ran a hell of a race tonight. Congrats to him for the win.
Well, good finish for you for coming home in second place. You led 13 laps here tonight. Just came home 1 position short. Who do you got to thank for getting you here tonight?
Pat and Jamie at JLR, Lincoln Tech, Hidden Whip Brewery, Cruisin Classics, Nasty's Restaurant and Bar, Veterans for Life Foundation, Veterans for Life Racing, INVETS, Jam Printing and Promotions, Maconi Setup Shop, V-Speed, NASCAR 360, Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs, Alexander PCs, Sim Motion, Next Level Racing, iRacing, Above the Yellow Line. Y'all for putting the broadcast on. We appreciate you. And my boys over at Premier Racing Setups.
Awesome. We appreciate your time. Great racing tonight, and hopefully we'll catch you in these next 2 races to end out the season.
Yep, sounds good. I'll see you.
Have a great night. That was Jeremy Gardner, our second place finisher. And we will round out our podium interviews tonight with Barrett Morton coming home in third. You started 6th place. I saw you kind of just creeping around the top 5 all night. Man, you look like you were actually probably one of the fastest trucks in that last 30 laps. What more did you need to get to those drivers? And man, you kept yourself out of all that chaos.
Yeah, I guess more laps. So I'm surprised I was able to make some passes tonight. So sometimes it can be pretty tough. I couldn't fire off quick enough. Andy was just the one to beat all night. So I just needed a much longer run to maybe have a chance. But it's all good. I'm really happy with the podium for sure.
It was great racing, great looking truck there with the Ghost Energy on the side. Do you expect to race these last 2 races as well?
I'm going to try and make it. Yeah, this is actually only my 2nd race of the season. So sometimes it's busy for me, but I made sure I had time tonight to make it, and I'm glad I did because it was really exciting and really fun race for us.
It was definitely exciting that second half, Barrett. We're glad to have you part of this race. Who do you have to thank for getting you here tonight?
INVETS, everything you guys do at GoatLocker. I really want to get more involved in this league, and then I'm friends with Andy and Coalfield. A lot of those guys invited me over, so really look forward to running a lot more races in the future with you all.
It was a pleasure to have you here for an interview, Barrett. Congratulations on your third place finish. Hopefully, we'll see you in the future.
All right, man. Thank you.
That was Barrett Moore. Makes it into the championship four. That is on Maconi Entertainment social channels, and it will be next Sunday at 8 p.m. Now, of course, we can talk a little bit about the standings as they stand right now. David Duke up 18 points on the cut line. He is P1. He has not clinched himself. No one has into that championship race. Benjamin Stevens, Chance Taylor, and Michael McCarthy, the current four competitors for the championship four. Colton Lanford, George Jewell, Tyler Justice, and Kendorian Davis, the four drivers on the outside looking in. Jeremy, it's going to be a fun final race before we find out who's competing for the championship.
It's going to be an absolute battle at the Great Pocono race. I love Pocono. It's right around the corner from me, basically. It's always awesome to watch these trucks on these big tracks. Some great racing. Dylan, we got to thank you for being a part of the Sunday broadcast. I believe this is your last one. It's always a pleasure to work next to you. Excited, though, for the rest of the season. I'm sure your replacement will be just as good. Just wanted to get that through, and I can't wait to be here at Pocono next week.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. It's been a pleasure being alongside you for these Sunday INVETS Truck Series broadcasts. I know Brain Laster will be joining alongside you those last two races, so it will certainly be an exciting final two to be a part of. And I hope you were not too annoyed with my ridiculous similes and metaphors tonight. I've got a lot of those moments. You know?
I love them all the time. I love working with you, and that's one of the things you're really good at. So
much appreciated. And Jeremy, it's been a blast, and just one race before we decide who moves on to that championship. For myself, Dylan Coyle, of course, Jeremy Briggs, DJ Line in the production booth. You've been watching Maconi Entertainment, some INVETS Truck Series action and GoatLocker Racing. Good night and good racing.
We're the outlaws on the asphalt, running wild, we never fall. In the shadows where the strong survive, GoatLocker Racing, we come alive. We're brothers and sisters bound by the code. In the heat of the battle, we lighten the load. From the dirt to the track, we stand our ground. With a roar like thunder, we shake the town. We're racing through the fire, burning bright. With the grit of the brave, we fight the night. No chains can hold us, no fear can break. We're GLR for glory's sake. We've got the scars to show where we've been, but we wear them proud like a second skin. For the fallen and the ones who rise, in the name of freedom we ride the skies. From the first green flag to the final lap, we push the limits, no turning back. With the wind at our backs and the sun in our eyes, GoatLocker Racing will claim the prize. We're racing through the fire, burning bright. With the grit of the brave, we fight the night. No chains can hold us, no fear can break. We're GLR for glory's sake.
dust and the smoke, we carve our name, GLR for glory's sake. In the heart of the storm, we find our way. On the edge of the wild, we won't betray. Every lap, every turn, it's do or die. With the spirit of warriors, we reach for the sky. In the heart of the storm, we find our way. On the edge of the wild, we won't betray. Every lap, every turn, it's do or die. With the spirit of warrior.